Hello and welcome to today's lesson on muscles of the pectoral girdle. So at the end of this video, my goal for you is to be able to identify the muscles associated with moving the scapula. We're going to describe how the scapula is moved when different muscles contract and pull on it. We're going to explain the importance of synergistic muscles of the pectoral girdle. So let's get started. So for the pectoral girdle, remember we have the scapula, the clavicle, and your humerus are all associated. In this case, muscle-wise, we're going to talk a lot about the scapula. So your trapezius, your trap muscles, your traps, they originate at your occipital spine. So the spine near your occipital bone. They insert at the clavicle and your acromion process of the scapula. They function to rotate the scapula, raise the scapula, and pull shoulder and scapula downward. Pretty much moves your scapula every direction except for laterally. So it can elevate, raise it superior direction, raise it medially, and raise it inferior, or pull it inferiorly. Along with your traps, we have what's known as your rhomboid major. There's a rhomboid minor as well, but we only focus on the major for this course. They do the same thing. It's found in your upper thoracic spine, is your origin point. Inserts on the medial border of your scapula and functions to raise and adduct your scapula. Basically pulls it medially along with a little bit up because that's how it's lined up. And the last one's your levator scapulae. This one is almost an exact translation, but it originates at your cervical spine and inserts on the medial edge of the scapula. So levator refers to elevate, and scapula refers to scapula. So literally elevates the scapula is your levator scapulae. So here's your trap muscle. It originates all the way from your occipital bone all the way down to your thoracic spine. And when it pulls, if these fibers up here contract, you're going to pull upwards. If the fibers in the middle contract, you're going to pull it medially. The fibers down here contract, you're going to pull it in the inferior direction. So that is your lat muscle, which pulls it pretty much all directions, except for laterally. Your rhomboid major, again, originates on your thoracic spine, inserts on the medial edge of your scapula, pulls. When these contract, they're going to shorten and pull it in this direction, so kind of upwards and adduction, and upwards and medially. And then your last one is your levator scapulae, which originates up here around your skull, inserts on your scapula here, so when this contracts, your scapula can go upwards. That's those three muscles. We have a couple others to talk about. One is the serratus anterior, which we're going to look at. So serratus kind of sounds like serrated, like a serrated knife, which is why it's named that. So this originates on the outer surface of the upper ribs, which we're going to look at. Inserts on the ventral surface of the scapula. Remember, ventral is the ventral and anterior are the same, mean the same thing. So ventral being the front side of the scapula. This pulls your scapula in the anterior and downward directions, which we're going to show here in a second. We'll also have your pectoralis minor, not to be confused with your pectoralis major. Your pectoralis minor originates on the sternal end of your upper ribs, so the sternum being towards the sternum, the medial side. Inserts on your coracoid process of the scapula and pulls the scapula forward. So if we look at these, your serratus anterior are here. This looks like a serrated knife, where they get their name from. So it's going to pull the scapula in this direction, towards the front. Again, same thing. You can see the muscles here. When they contract, they're going to shorten and pull this direction. So it pulls your scapula forward. This guy here is your pectoralis minor muscle. So when he contracts, because your ribs can't really move anywhere, your ribs are kind of stuck, they're fixed, so he's going to pull your scapula in the forward and downward directions as well. But that is your pectoralis minor. So I want to know, what is the function of the levator scapulae? How does the trap muscle move the scapula? And which muscles stabilize the scapula in the anterior direction? So which ones stabilize in the forward direction? Answer those questions, and we will continue this discussion next time. Thank you very much for your time and attention. If you have questions, come see me. If not, I will talk to you later.